The motive driving serial killers almost always includes a powerful sexual element. However, few cases have proved so bizarre as that of Jerome Brudos, obsessed collector of young women's shoes and underwear. Born in South Dakota in January 1939, Brudos moved with his family to California as a child. He grew up with a deep hatred of his domineering mother, yet from the age of 5, he developed a strange fetish for women's shoes. As a young boy, he picked up a pair of high heels from a local dump and brought them home, where his mother promptly burned them. Then he stole shoes from his sister. By the age of 16, now living in Salem, Oregon, he began to steal from neighbors, sometimes also taking underwear from their washing lines. Age 17, Brudos forced a girl at knife point to strip while he took photographs. Taken to juvenile court, he was diagnosed as suffering from early personality disorder and ordered to attend the state hospital in Salem for therapy. In March 1959, he joined the Army, but was discharged in October the same year, after telling an Army psychiatrist his dreams of a beautiful Korean girl creeping into his bed. Back home with his parents in Salem, where he took to living in the family tool shed, Brudos began to stalk local women, knocking them down and half suffocating them before making off with their shoes. These attacks ceased for some years after 1961, when he met a young woman called Ralphine, made her pregnant, and married her. They relocated to the Portland suburb of Aloha, and for a time, Brudos seemed to have settled down. Then, in 1967, while his wife was in hospital for the birth of their second child, he began to complain of migraines and blackouts, and started his night prowling again, stealing shoes and underwear. One woman awoke to find Brudos ransacking her closet. He choked her until she was unconscious, raped her, and made off with his plunder. Around this time, he used to make Ralphine walk about the house naked while he took photographs, and he also posed himself wearing some of his stolen underwear. Events began to accelerate the following year. On January 26, 1968, 19-year-old student Linda Slauson came to the Brudos front door, selling encyclopedias. Jerry took her into the basement garage, beat her, raped her, and strangled her. He then sent Ralphine out for hamburgers while he dressed Linda's corpse in some of his collection of clothing. After photographing her, he cut off her left foot as a trophy, locked it in the freezer, and dumped the remains in the nearby Willamette River. In July, 16-year-old Stephanie Vico disappeared. Her remains would not be discovered until the following March. On the 26th of November, another student, Jan Whitney, aged 23, vanished while on a drive from McMinnville, south of Portland. Her car was found abandoned on the road north of Albany. It was later established that Brudos had taken her to his garage, where he had killed her, and left Brent Turvey, a freelance forensic psychologist, her body hanging from a hook. Practicing in California, recorded one of his first, dressed as he liked, for several professional interviews with convicted serial killer, days. He then cut off one of her, Jerome Brudos, in his book Criminal Profiling, 1999, breasts in order to preserve it, and disposed of the rest of her corpse. I realized how truly naive my understanding in the river of sex offenders was. I spent 5 hours with, up to this time the police had him, and he lied to me almost the entire time. He lied about almost everything he had ever been investigating, a succession done. Or rather, he claimed everything that he of disappearances but with the hadn't done. The only reason that I was not discovery of Stephanie Vico's completely taken in by his charming personality, body on March 18, 1969, one case, and generous, affable nature was the fact that, at least, was now clearly homicide. I had reviewed the investigative file prior to the 9 days later Karen Sprinker interview. I had gone to the Marion County, aged 19, vanished from a sheriff's office in Salem, Oregon. I had read department store parking lot autopsy reports on all of the victims, looked leaving her car abandoned, at the crime scene photos, and read at about the same time, 2 investigators' reports. I had even seen some of witnesses reported seeing the photos Jerry had taken of himself posing, man dressed in women's clothes with his victims, loitering in the lot. Brudos had taken Karen to his home, raped her, and forced her to pose for photographs before hanging her. He then cut off both her breasts, dumping her body in the Long Tom River. Meanwhile, Brudos's wife, Ralphine, had dark suspicions of her own. Tidying around their home, she had turned up a host of her husband's photographs of himself in his victim's underwear, together with Jan Whitney's preserved breast, which she assumed was plastic, and which he assured her was an innocent paperweight. Fortunately for her peace of mind, she did not discover Brudos's store of photographs featuring himself posing with his victims' bodies, but disturbing doubts lingered. On May 10th, fishermen hauled up Linda Sully's body from the Long Tom River. It was weighed down with part of an auto transmission. 2 days later, and only 50 yards downriver, Karen Sprinker's corpse was recovered by a team of divers. Interviews with local co-eds yielded tales of an aging Vietnam vet who hung around campus asking for dates. Answering their descriptions, Brudos was picked up by police on May 25th and questioned closely before being let go. 5 days later, he was again arrested on a concealed weapons charge. This time he broke down and confessed in detail to the murders. A search of the Brudos home revealed his huge collection of women's shoes and underwear, and hundreds of incriminating photographs. One in particular proved irrefutable evidence. While photographing one of his sexily dressed victims hanging from a hook, Brudos had placed a mirror below her and had unsuspectingly caught a reflection of himself. He pleaded guilty on 3 counts of first-degree murder on June 17, 1969, and was sentenced to life imprisonment.